I didn't even flinch when she said it. She stood in the doorway, suitcase behind her, one hand on her hip, like she was posing for some magazine cover she thought she deserved to be on. She tilted her head and said it like a dare. I can leave. Men beg me to marry them. My response. Great. Exit's right there. Silence. Not the shocked kind. The offended kind. The kind that drips from someone used to being worshipped and suddenly isn't. That was the moment Lauren realized her little performance had no audience anymore. She didn't walk out. She wheeled the suitcase back into the hallway, muttering something under her breath, then slammed the bathroom door. You'd think this was the big breaking point. It wasn't. This wasn't sudden. This was rotting from the inside out for months, and I was the only one stupid enough to pretend the house didn't smell like decay. It started with the gym membership. Not the actual working out. That was fine. It was the insistence I never come with her. The brand new girl's only rule with her trainer, Ty, whose Instagram looked like a Calvin Klein ad had a baby with an energy drink. Then came the separate dinners, the new passwords, the don't wait up texts, and one night, a notification on her tablet. Can't stop thinking about you. Last night was insane. I tapped it. Message gone. App gone. Ghosted out of thin air. I didn't say anything. Because I wanted proof. Because I knew she would slip up again. So I let her think I was the same Mitch. I still made her coffee in the morning. Still smiled when she told me she was heading out for yoga. Still nodded when she said her phone was acting weird and she'd need a new one, again. I even pretended to believe the receipts she accidentally left in the glove box from a hotel downtown. One night stay. 2 guests. $38 room service. Lauren doesn't eat after 6 p.m. So yeah, when she made her little announcement about being in high demand, I didn't react. I was already 5 steps ahead. That week, I logged into our shared banking app from my laptop at work, where I knew she wouldn't check the activity. And I opened my own checking account, moved half the money. Quietly. Legally. I also called her boutique's business partner, Diane, and asked for a coffee meeting. Diane's been suspicious for a while. Turns out, she had her own secrets. And once she started talking, everything came out. Let's just say, Lauren's side hustle wasn't just candles. She had another one. A real side hustle. And I had the screenshots to prove it. I wasn't going to yell, or cry, or beg. I was going to ruin her peace the same way she ruined mine, slowly. Silently. Smart. And I was going to do it with the dumbest smile she ever saw on my face. She said that to me 3 days later. I was sitting on the couch folding her gym clothes when she walked in, visibly annoyed that I hadn't asked where she'd been. Not even a glance. Not a raised eyebrow. She hovered in the doorway longer than usual, waiting for the interrogation that never came. Eventually, she cracked. You're acting weird. You're so calm. It's creepy. I looked up from the Lululemon leggings she hadn't bought with her own money and gave her a smile, so fake, I'm pretty sure it scared even me. Just trying not to rock the boat, babe. Her eyes narrowed. She didn't trust it. And she shouldn't have. See, the old me would have asked 100 questions. Who were you with? Why didn't you text? Why are you wearing a different perfume? But that version of me was dead and buried somewhere under a mountain of gaslighting and lies. This new version? He was patient. And very, very dangerous. I'd spent the last 72 hours building a quiet war plan. I wasn't going to destroy her with fists or shouting matches. No, I was going to bury her in silence, with the kind of precision she'd never see coming. And the best part? I was going to let her dig the hole. That same day, I installed a tiny GPS tracker in her car's wheel well. Nothing illegal. It's our car, after all. I didn't even need to hide it that well. She was always too busy scrolling through her filtered DMs and deleting messages to notice real-world threats. I synced it to my phone and waited. The first ping? Tuesday night, 9:42 p.m. Her gym closes at 8:30. Guess where she was? Not at a juice bar. Not grabbing froyo with Diane. She was parked in front of a condo on the other side of town, one I recognized because her old co-worker, Devin, lived there. Devin, the guy who once drunkenly told me Lauren had a dangerous smile. I'd brushed it off as a joke back then. It wasn't. I waited until she came home, humming like nothing was off. She even kissed me on the cheek. I almost laughed. The next morning, I checked her laptop while she was showering. Guess what I found? An open tab from the night before. Zillow. Specifically, a listing titled Perfect Bachelor Pad in the heart of the city. 2 bedrooms, open layout, great view. She'd favorited it. I looked at the date it was last viewed, 1:23 a.m. So not only was she cheating, she was planning for it, strategizing her exit. Probably thought she'd leave, take the business, move in with Devin or whatever hormone-driven man-child she thought would worship her better than I did. But she forgot one detail. I built everything she had. The boutique? My savings launched it. The branding? I designed it. The business license? Registered under my name. She didn't realize that while she was busy fantasizing about some candlelit loft with her new toy, I was already meeting with my lawyer. Yep, I pulled the trigger. Consultation booked. Documents started. Everything calm, quiet, clean. Because when she finally tried to walk out like some Instagram queen exiting her toxic marriage, I was going to be standing there, not with a broken heart, but with papers. Signed. Filed. Final. Let her beg someone else to marry her. Let her find out how many of those DMs were just men playing pretend. Me? I was done playing. But first, I needed one more piece of evidence. One final nail for the coffin. And funny enough, it came from her own best friend. I wasn't even supposed to see her that night. Stephanie, Lauren's best friend, only texted me because of what she called a weird gut feeling. She didn't say much, just asked if I was home and if she could drop by. 10 minutes later, she was at my door in a hoodie and messy bun, looking like she'd just sprinted out of a guilty conscience. We weren't close. Stephanie was always around Lauren, always rolling her eyes when we'd bicker at parties, but she never crossed the line. Until now. She came in, quiet, didn't take her coat off, didn't sit. She's going to kill me for this, she said. I asked for what, and then she pulled out her phone. You ever have one of those moments where reality feels like it unzips? Like you're just watching yourself watch something you already knew, but it still hits like a car crash? That was me, standing in my own kitchen, watching a video Stephanie had saved from a private Instagram story, one Lauren had posted to her close friends list. You know, the special little circle people use when they want to be sneaky. In the video, Lauren is sitting on Devin's lap. Candlelight, wine, music playing in the background. She's laughing. He's whispering something in her ear. Then she looks into the camera, to whoever she posted it for, and says, "Men would kill to be with me. And I'm stuck coming home to a guy who folds my underwear." Stephanie stopped the video. I said nothing, just nodded. I told her it wasn't funny. I told her you didn't deserve that, she added, and her voice cracked a little. She told me I was being dramatic. Of course she did. That video was 2 weeks old, meaning she'd been playing both sides for longer than I thought. Playing house with me, while living out some trashy romance fantasy in Devin's overpriced condo. And still, she had the audacity to come home, kiss my cheek, and ask if I could pick up oat milk for her smoothies. I was angry, yeah, but not the kind of angry she was used to. This wasn't door slamming, plate breaking, scream in the driveway angry. This was cold protocol angry. Controlled. Methodical. The kind of rage that simmers at 200 degrees and waits for the exact moment to explode, quietly. Legally. Perfectly. Does she know you're here? I asked Stephanie. She shook her head. No. She thinks I'm at a concert. Don't tell her. I made her promise. Not for drama. Not to put her in the middle. But because I needed Lauren to keep thinking she was in control. That she had me wrapped around her finger. That I was still in the dark. It was easier that way. Because if she knew what I knew, she'd disappear. She'd start covering tracks, making fake receipts, rewriting history. And I wasn't ready for her to panic yet. Not until all my chess pieces were locked in. After Stephanie left, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I opened my laptop, pulled up her boutique's business account, and started combing through purchases. There it was. Every charge to hotels, expensive dinners, Ubers at 2 a.m., all marked as client meetings. She used our business to fund her double life. And guess what? That made everything taxable and traceable. I screenshotted everything. Tomorrow, I'd email it all to my lawyer. But tonight, I was going to sleep like a baby. Because I had finally stopped asking why she did it. Now I was just planning what I'd do next. 2 days after Stephanie's confession, Lauren burst through the front door like she was auditioning for a role in a courtroom drama. Coat half off, phone in hand, red lipstick smudged like she'd been biting her lip too hard, or, more likely, someone else had. She dropped her purse on the floor and stormed into the kitchen where I was stirring pasta, like nothing was wrong. You moved money. She said it flat. Accusatory. The same tone she once used on a barista who got her coffee order wrong. I didn't even turn around. I did. Why? I gave her the most honest answer I'd ever said out loud. Because I realized I was funding my own humiliation. She stood there, arms crossed, scanning my face for weakness. It rattled her that I wasn't panicking, not crying, not even raising my voice. I think she needed me to be pathetic. It would have made it easier to justify what she was doing behind my back. "You're being dramatic," she snapped. "You know how many women would kill to live the life I have. And you're clearly dying to escape it." That one hit. Her face twitched. She turned away and grabbed a glass from the cabinet like she needed something to do with her hands. I watched her pour wine like she wasn't unraveling from the inside. Here's what she didn't know. I'd already contacted our bank and had the business card shut down. The boutique account was frozen. Not drained, frozen. Legally. Quietly. She couldn't even buy glue sticks without texting me first. And I wasn't answering texts anymore. The lease for her boutique? Co-signed by me. And our landlord? He'd been more than happy to accept my buyout offer and assign notice to vacate. She had 30 days before the locks changed. 30 days to figure out how to run a brand she didn't build, with zero access to the funds that sustained it. But here's the thing. I wasn't taking anything from her. I was just stopping the supply. The time, money, patience, love, everything I gave without asking. I didn't burn the bridge. I just stopped building it. And she felt it. She started hovering more. Asking if I was okay. Offering to cook. Clean. Even suggested a weekend trip to reconnect. I smiled. Said I was busy. Politely declined. She couldn't stand it. One night, I caught her crying in the guest room. She didn't know I saw. And I didn't comfort her. Because those tears weren't for me. They were for the version of me she could control. The one who scrambled to keep her happy. The one she mocked with her little side romances while calling me safe in her group chats. That guy was gone. And just to drive it home, I mailed her a manila envelope the next morning. No note. No message. Inside, a printed screenshot of that Instagram story Stephanie had saved. Her on Devin's lap, drunk off her own ego. She opened it while I was in the room. She didn't say a word, but her hands trembled. Good. That was just the start. Because I wasn't finished. Not even close. By week 4, she'd stopped pretending. No more fake laughs over dinner. No more surprise kisses on the cheek. No more "we should talk" speeches in yoga pants. She walked around the house like a stranger, someone just waiting for a train that never arrived. I watched her get smaller each day. Not physically, no. Lauren was still flawless, still posting selfies with captions like "Energy Shift Nazar Amulet Sparkles" to people who had no idea her bank cards were declining one by one. But in the real world, her universe was collapsing. It started with her assistant quitting. Just quit. No notice. Sent a text that said, "It's too toxic. I can't anymore." That same day, the boutique's email got flagged for billing errors. That was me. I'd rerouted all monthly payments through an LLC under my name. Every supplier invoice bounced. Packages got returned. Vendors stopped responding. She was locked out of her Square account because it was under my credentials. Technically, she was just an employee. And now, an unpaid one. She came home and slammed her keys on the table. Didn't even speak. Just dropped her designer bag on the floor like it was 50 pounds heavier than usual. I asked if she had a good day. She didn't answer. I smiled and went back to stirring soup I had no intention of sharing. The next morning, she tried calling Diane, her former business partner. Lauren thought they were still close. She didn't know Diane had already sent me a formal statement swearing off any stake in the boutique after discovering how Lauren had been laundering business dinners into romantic getaways with Devin. Even more interesting, Diane's cousin worked in leasing. Guess who Devin's condo was leased under? Not Devin. His ex-girlfriend. The one who apparently moved out a month ago and hadn't realized her name was still being used to cover Lauren's sleepovers. I found this out because Diane casually dropped it over brunch, as if she were discussing the weather. I guess people love turning on narcissists when the mask slips. I hadn't even planned to confront Devin. He was just a shadow in the background. A symptom, not the disease. But then I got a message. A direct one. From him. "Hey man, can we talk? I think I've been lied to about some stuff. Didn't know she was still married. Sorry." No, my bad. Bro was going to make this better. But the fact that he messaged me at all, that told me one thing. Lauren's fantasy life was crumbling from both ends now. She didn't just lose her money, her business, or her best friend. She was starting to lose her affair too. That night, I left the house for the first time in a week and stayed at a hotel downtown. I didn't tell her I was going. I just left a note on the kitchen counter. I hope you find what you're looking for, or at least someone else to blame when you don't. No signature. Just that. She called me 4 times that night. Left 2 voicemails. The first one was annoyed. The second one sounded like she was crying. I didn't listen to the rest. I laid on the bed, staring at the ceiling fan spin, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was being held underwater. I was surfacing. She thought she'd scare me with the idea of men begging to marry her. That I'd panic, grovel. What she never expected was for me to walk away first, without a single scream, without even slamming the door. And the scariest part for her? I wasn't coming back. I came home after 2 days at the hotel. Not because I missed her, not because I softened. I came back because I wanted to see how she would act when I gave her just enough rope to tangle herself. The house smelled like desperation. Or maybe it was one of her failed candle prototypes burning in the kitchen, trying to hide the tension in the air. She was already sitting at the table, wine glass full, lips painted, back straight. Hair done like she was going to war with her ego dressed in designer armor. "Where were you?" she asked. "Out," I replied. She scoffed. "You think disappearing makes you look strong? It makes you look guilty." That was her new angle. Make me the bad guy. Flip the script. Victim pretending to be villain. I didn't engage. "You emptied the business account. Do you know how illegal that is?" I took out a folder and slid it across the table. Inside, notarized paperwork, bank statements, and legal documentation showing exactly when and how the ownership and financial control had shifted. All of it signed. All of it real. All of it done before she even thought of pulling the trigger on her little bachelor pad escape plan. "You weren't the business," I said calmly. "You were the face. I was the foundation." Faces crack. She didn't even open the folder. Just stared at it like it was a bomb, and if she touched it, she'd detonate. That night, she posted a vague, self-pitying quote on Instagram. "Some people only love when they have control. Sad world we live in." And for the first time ever, no one liked it. No comments. No heart emojis. No fake "you okay, hon" messages. Just silence. Because her circle had shrunk, and she didn't know it yet. Word had gotten around. Stephanie had talked. Diane had talked. And apparently, even Devin had talked. That part came out during a birthday dinner 2 days later. A mutual friend, Nicole, invited us both. I considered skipping, but I had a better idea. Show up. Be seen. Act untouched. I arrived early. Sat at the far end of the table. When Lauren walked in, she froze. Half the room looked at her like she was wearing a scarlet letter. The rest looked at me with pity, or worse, respect. I didn't speak to her. I spoke to everyone else. I laughed. I ordered the bottle of wine. When Nicole toasted to real ones who stick around even when it's hard, everyone raised a glass, except Lauren. She just sat there, cheeks burning, lips tight, eyes darting between people like a hunted animal. And then it happened. Nicole, buzzed from champagne and absolutely fed up with the drama, turned to her and said, "Didn't you say you were leaving him? Or was that just your backup plan in case Devin didn't work out?" The table went dead silent. Lauren blinked, visibly stunned. Her mouth opened, then closed. She reached for her purse and mumbled something about not feeling well. I didn't stop her. I didn't even look at her. I just took another bite of tiramisu. As she walked out, I caught a glimpse of her reflection in the restaurant mirror, mascara smudged, hands shaking, shoulders caved in. She wasn't angry anymore. She was afraid. And now that fear was starting to reach the surface. Later that night, Nicole messaged me. "You handled that like a king. If you ever need a drink or a place to vent, I'm around." I didn't respond, but I saved the message. Not because I planned to take her up on it. Not yet. But because Lauren would. She always hated the idea of me being wanted by anyone else. And the longer I said nothing, the louder the silence became. The thing about narcissists is they never imagine the ending. They plan affairs, they craft exit strategies, they rehearse new beginnings with men they barely know, but they never actually imagine the fallout. Not the real kind. Not the quiet, public humiliation where no one screams, but everyone sees. It happened at her candle store. Well, what used to be her candle store. She had no idea I'd canceled the lease renewal 2 months prior. She never checked the paperwork. Never even noticed I'd updated the billing address. All she knew was that some mix-up had happened with the landlord, and now she was being asked to vacate. But instead of handling it privately, she decided to turn it into a spectacle. And of course, she invited half the town for what she called a customer appreciation pop-up that Friday. I showed up too. Not to cause trouble. I wasn't holding a grudge anymore. No need. I came for the final move. Lauren was mid-speech when I walked in. Microphone in hand, wine glass lifted, talking about how the boutique had been through so much, how some people tried to sabotage it, and how women in business face unfair retaliation from insecure men. I stood in the back, right next to the leasing agent, Mr. Crane, a man in his 60s with a deep voice and no tolerance for drama. He gave me a nod. I gave him the signal. When Lauren finished her speech, there was awkward applause. She walked toward the display table when the boutique's door opened again. Two men in buttoned shirts walked in. One handed her an envelope. She took it like she was accepting a gift until she saw the seal. Eviction notice. 30 days. No appeals. Non-payment. Unauthorized structural changes. Breach of lease. She turned pale. She looked at the audience, her Instagram friends, her old sorority sisters, a couple of influencers who probably came for free candles, and she tried to recover. This is some kind of mistake, she stammered. It's all being handled. But it wasn't, and everyone in that room could feel it. The smiles turned fake. The murmurs started. Stephanie, standing by the diffuser table, slowly packed up her tote bag. Nicole left without a word. Lauren locked eyes with me. I didn't say a word, just nodded. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to post revenge stories or expose her on social media, because the walls were already crumbling, and now everyone saw it. She followed me outside 20 minutes later. I was leaning against my car when I heard her heels click behind me. She didn't speak right away. Then, finally, she broke. "You humiliated me," she whispered. "No," I said without turning. "You did that. I just stopped protecting you from the consequences." She walked around to face me, tears already forming. The kind of crying that's more frustration than sadness. She hated being outplayed. "You want to punish me? Fine. You win. Is that what you wanted?" I looked her dead in the eyes. I wanted peace. And now I have it. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. For a second, I saw the version of her I used to know. The girl who once made me soup when I had the flu, who danced barefoot in the kitchen, who laughed at my terrible movie impressions. That version was gone. Maybe she was never real. I got in the car. She didn't follow. The next morning, she posted a black and white selfie with the caption, "Lesson learned. Not everyone who smiles in your face is on your side." But there were no comments. No likes. Not even Devin. Because that night, he messaged me again. "If you're done with her, just say the word. I've got things I want to say too." I didn't reply. Not because I was done with her, but because I was done with all of it. And yet, there was still one more move to make. I didn't speak to Lauren for 3 weeks after the boutique shut down. No texts. No emails. Nothing. The only connection left was a crumpled receipt she left in the kitchen for almond milk I never asked her to buy. I was done. And not the bitter, vengeful kind of done. I mean the weight off your chest, can finally breathe again kind of done. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was clean. My evenings were quiet. The house didn't feel like it was suffocating me. My coffee tasted stronger. The air didn't feel like it belonged to someone else. The last message I ever got from her came on a Thursday morning. It was short. "Can we talk? Just for closure. Please." I didn't reply, because closure is a gift you give someone when they've earned it. And honestly, I wasn't going to help her understand why she lost. That's what she wanted, to be handed the emotional cliff notes. A way to clean the guilt off her hands without doing the work. Instead, I left the house for good the next day. Not with a dramatic speech. No post-it notes. Just a moving truck, a new lease downtown, and a digital goodbye to a chapter that never deserved the page count it got. I moved into a small apartment with creaky floors and a window that overlooks a bookstore cafe. It's not fancy, but it's mine. It smells like old paper and real peace. My mornings are slow. My meals are quiet. My phone doesn't buzz with accusations or fake apologies. And maybe the most surprising part, I smiled for real last week. Like, deep, face-warming, no-reason kind of smile. I was sitting outside the bookstore, drinking black coffee, and watching people walk their dogs. And I realized, no one was draining me. No one was lying to me. I wasn't worried who she was texting or what dinner meeting meant anymore. I was free. That same afternoon, someone pulled up a chair next to mine. It was Nicole. She'd seen me from inside the cafe and said she didn't want to interrupt, but figured, what the hell? Might as well say hi. We talked for an hour. Then two. No drama. No pressure. Just two tired people laughing about how stupid life gets sometimes. She never asked about Lauren, and I never brought her up. Because we both knew some stories don't need sequels. I don't know what happens next. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm not looking for a rebound or a redemption arc. I'm just living. And for the first time in a very long time. That's more than enough.